Hello, my lovelies. Welcome back to True Talk Tuesday, the weekly show, live show, that we talk about everything from real estate to local businesses. Last week we had Sarah Stiegler on and we talked about the housing bill. This week we were going to finish with Sarah, but Sarah's unfortunately feeling a little bit under the weather. So that we're going to give her some time. We love you, Sarah. We love you, Sarah. Okay. So get to feeling better so we can have you back on the show. But we're going to take some time. I was reminded by my best friend that I have not done a market update in a hot minute. So we're going to talk about market numbers tonight. We are also going to go back to what Sarah and I were talking about with inventory versus affordability, right? Like what exactly? So tonight is definitely a real estate night. Tonight is definitely a night for you to give me whatever questions that you might have about what's going on with the market. I have had some questions submitted, so we're going to go over those as well. And before I do that, I got a neat little thing. I don't think you're going to see them though. I don't, my husband likes to spoil me on occasions. And soon will be our 20-year anniversary. So he was trying to get me something for this office. So we're going to do this together. We're going to see if you can see it. All right. Ready? Wand at the ready. Okay, you can see one of them. There's a couple of more. You can't see the other ones. But you could see my little floating candle light, right? Yep. Okay. So we need more. I'm gonna have to put some more in here so we can see them a little bit better. All right. He also said that I need to start moving things around the office so that way when you guys are tuning in, you're looking and you're like, what's moved? What's moved? I have moved some things. So if you are a regular viewer, you might see some things moved. I also have this room as a complete mess right now. You can see my granddaughter's paints right there. We get her like the tempera paints, finger painting stuff because she's 6. So ignore the office right now because it's a little bit of a mess and I need to clean it. But I have been super busy, and that super busy helps me be able to better explain the market to you because I'm actively in the market right now. I'm seeing what buyers are asking. I'm seeing what sellers are needing. So we're going to talk about a lot of stuff tonight. Feel free again to leave me a comment so that way I can answer your question. Before we get into the market numbers, because it's a lot, we're going to first talk about something that was a question that was asked to me. It was about first-time home buyers. What's the number one thing that I think a first-time home buyer needs to know? And I will say the number one thing a first-time home buyer needs to know is a really good agent. They need an agent that they feel comfortable with, and they need an agent that not only do they feel comfortable with, but an agent that can teach them the process. Because you're going to be scared as a first-time home buyer. Why? Because you don't know what's going on, right? You're hoping that everything's going the way it's supposed to. So you need to make sure that you choose a realtor that can teach you, that can explain things to you in a way that's not like mumbo jumbo jargon from the industry, right? They can actually explain it to you in terms that you understand because you're not in the industry. You don't know all the little acronyms, you don't know the little nicknames that we say about things. So you need to be able to have a realtor that explains it to you in a way that you're comfortable with, right? And that you are also comfortable enough with that realtor to go, hey, I know you explained it to me, but I still don't understand. So can you go over it one more time, homie? All right. So the first and foremost is please, 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 if you are thinking about becoming a homeowner, find yourself a very, very reliable, trustworthy, and teachable, and they're an educator as well, realtor. All right. And if you're looking for one of those, hello, I am here. If you want to talk to me, no obligation, just let you know. But that's my biggest thing is I think first-time home buyers need somebody that they trust that's on their side and that will go over the process with them. All right. So Andy, thank you for that question because that came from one of my networking groups, Andy Griffith. By the way, we need to have her on because she's amazing. All right. So market, what's happening in the market, right? Especially here in Lakeland. Make sure I've got everything on stage. All right. So in March, when we went over our March numbers, this is what our March numbers look like. Our closed sales We had about 89 closed sales for the month of March. It took about 36 days to get those to contract. So from the time they were listed until they went under contract, it was about 36 days. The median price sale was 330,000. The percentage of original list price received was 96.9. And remember, we're not technically into a seller's market until that hits 100%, right? But there were some factors that were really telling us we're still quite in a seller's market. We had month supply of inventory. We have a limited inventory, which again, that means it's a seller's market because we've got more buyers vying for inventory. And then the new listings, we had 132 new listings. Now, we missed May, I think, yeah, we missed April. Yep, we got May. All right. So in May, just 2 months later, where were we? We were now still at 3.9. Oh, okay. So we went up by 0.3 points as far as inventory supply. So we went to 3.9. So that shows that we're getting a little bit more inventory on the market. More inventory on the market, better for buyers, right? Less inventory on market, better for sellers. So we're seeing that, okay, we still have limited inventory, but we're getting a little bit better, right? Median sale price is $325,000. Look at that. It went down by like $5,000. The median price was $330 in March, and now we're at $325. Okay. Closed sales were 97, so we did a little bit better than in March, right? And we had 97.9% of original list price. A little bit better, right? A little bit better. All right, let's look at July. Now, July, I did not give you the list price. I wanted to look at cash price. I wanted to see how many of these closings came from cash. What was the percentage? So we got that. The percentage of cash buyers, by the way, is 20%. I thought that was interesting. It's good. That means 80% of the people here in Lakeland are not cash buyers and they're having to use a loan, but 20% of people are either coming from like their investors using cash, or maybe they've sold their homes and they're downsizing to a smaller home, so they're using cash. So you're seeing that. I'm going to try to keep a hold of this number. I want to see what happens over the next couple of months with this number, because I have an idea. I'm not going to share it yet, but I've got some stuff going on, some playing. Now we're going to look at the median sale price for just last month, July, right? July. Let's go back. March, median sale price was $330. July, we are at $320. It came down $10,000. The median sale price. So housing prices fell by $10,000. That's sales price, right? That's not actual like what we closed with, because, you know, when we look at the closed numbers, that's 96% of sellers are getting what they want, right? So that means they took less. If 96% took less, and in here 97, almost 98% took less, right? What do you think? You think that we're still taking less here? I'll have to pull that number. Months of inventory, though, are up for the first time. I think we are now. I got to get my cheat sheet. All right, because numbers are hard for me sometimes. We are still in a balanced market. Still says 3 to 5 months worth of inventory. Still a balanced market, but we are moving to having more inventory on the market. And active inventory is, we have right now 386 homes for sale here in Lakeland. And the median time to contract is 36 days. So we went from 36 days in March to we're still at 36 days. So the inventory is moving quicker than it had been in a couple of, from years past. I'm going to take this off the screen now. One of the questions that got asked to me, and I think is a brilliant question, was there is somebody that's watching homes that are priced within about 150 to 250, right? The homes that are priced within 150 to 250, we're seeing those home prices right now within this month kind of go up a little bit, right? Just enough. Like if you're really paying attention, you'll see it. But if you're not paying attention, you don't see it. And the question was is that if those are increasing, why do I still hear that housing is decreasing? And we saw that on the infographic, right? Median sale price has gone down by $10,000. So what's going on right now? What do we see? So from my own experience here in Lakeland, what I'm seeing is that sales price between 150 to 250, we have multiple offers coming in for those homes. We have multiple offers coming in for those homes because there's not a lot of homes in that price range. That's an affordability thing, right? People can afford those priced homes as opposed to when we get to the 350, 400 and above, especially 400 and above, we're seeing them sit for a little bit longer. We're seeing things, $420,000 home is going to sit for maybe 40 days, right? We have some houses that are sitting for over 100 days because they're in that price range. So the question was, is this an affordability thing or is this an inventory? I'm going to say it's a little bit of both. Like the reason why we're seeing the lower price houses just incrementally increase, so small, right? Again, you've got to be paying attention to see this, or you've got to be in the business to see it. But they're so small. We're seeing these little incremental rises in that particular area, that particular price range. Why? Because we are getting into multiple offers. There's not a whole lot of inventory in that price range. And so now you've got 2 or 3 buyers vying for this piece of property. So they're going to increase not a whole lot, right? Because it's affordability, but you're going to see it increase just a little bit. So you might have somebody that puts in an offer for a house that, they're saying, okay, it's a $200,000 house. I'm going to buy it at 200,000. But now you've got 2 other offers behind you. And the third offer is like, you know what? I'll pay 205, right? I'll pay 205. So these moderately priced homes, we don't have a whole lot of them. And we are seeing some offers competing. And so it's bringing them up just a little bit, just a hair, right? Whereas the other houses, they're not getting competing offers. They're sitting on the market longer. And so the sellers are more likely to take less for them because they've been sitting on the market longer. So that's why I'm saying right now, if you are looking at a home that's 150 to 250, make sure that's a pretty, solid offer. You're going to want to make sure that you have your pre-approval in. So that way, when your agent goes to submit your offer, we can submit your pre-approval with it, right? Why do we do that? We do that because we want to make sure the seller knows, hey, you can afford it. Okay. We want to make sure that instead of a 14-day inspection, okay, I'm competing with 2 other offers, I'm going to do a 7-day inspection. I know my inspectors that I've used in the past, they can handle it. They can do that. They've done it for me in the past. So we want to make this a very, very competitive offer. That competition, though, again, raises the prices, raises the expectations of the sellers. Sellers might not do as many concessions with competing offers. So that's a weird area. It's a weird area. It's an affordable area for most people, but still we are at a point where we're going to get outbid. So it's unusual. It's an unusual stance right now. I'm going to show you average home prices over the last 2 years. I pulled it for the last 2 years. We're going to see what's happened because of the simple fact that we were looking at, okay, did housing prices go up all of a sudden? No, actually, right now, let's see, this would have been, okay, so remember I told you that the houses between 0 to 200,000, right? 0 to 200,000. Back in 2004, January of 2004, we had, this was, we were at a normal spot. All right, I'll say that. We're at a normal spot. And then all of a sudden we start seeing housing prices go up. We start seeing them go up. And in January of 2025, that 0 to 200 range is at its peak. It is topped off, right? So instead of a house being 200,000, we're at 250,000 now. That same house, right? Might have had a 50,000 increase. And then we start seeing things go back down. We start seeing housing prices go back down. Right now, we are pretty level. We're at a dead level for this particular price range. So this price range, according to the chart, it's moving so slowly up that you can't even detect it, right? Because obviously it's still going down quite a bit. All right. Then I wanted to see, all right, what about the 200 to 300 range? What's happened to those homes? Now, the first range I showed you, it kind of leveled out at the 0 mark right here. These are not leveling out at the 0 mark. These are still plummeting. The 200 to 300,000. Now, this is great for buyers. This is great for buyers because now you're getting more house for less, right? Sellers might not like it. And I can understand why, right? You're going to lose money. But this price range right here, this will help the affordability, right? Can I afford it? Yeah, these houses are going down. Lastly, this is the big item houses. I say big item houses. For here in Lakeland, we do have $1 million homes. We don't have a whole lot of $1 million homes. We do have homes that are in the upper like 800, 900,000. But for the most part, in most areas of Lakeland, the nicer homes are going to be anywhere from 400 to 500,000. And so this right here shows you that these homes in particularly, people are having a hard time affording them, right? That's why we have such a deep decrease in price range for this particular home. This one isn't even leveled out at 0%. It didn't level out at 10%. It leveled out like it's at negative, almost negative 20%, right? So as opposed to where we should be, that's where we are. So, my lovelies, what does all this mean? Because this sounds like a bunch of mumbo jumbo jargon that I don't understand. Right? I don't understand what you're talking about. What this all means in very basic terms is that if you are looking for a house that's between 150 and 250, you might have to have competing offers. You might have to have competing offers. So sellers of homes of that price range, you're also going to see that your house might not be on the market as long as other homes, right? We had a house that a friend of mine put up, and within 4 days, it had 2 different offers. That's crazy. That's like when I first started, when I was an admin in real estate. They could put a house up for sale on a Friday, and by Sunday it's sold, right? Like they've got a cash offer for it. So it feels a little reminiscent of when I first started. But that is only for this very specific price range because it's an affordability thing. We can afford that price range. We can afford the payments for that loan at that price range. As we get into the higher price range homes, people aren't able to afford those payments. And so we're not seeing those houses going unless somebody has a huge down payment where then they can cut that payment. And if they do that, then they're probably asking for seller concessions and things of that nature. So in honesty, right now, now's your time to buy that starter home, and now's your time to sell that starter home. All right. The mid-range homes from like the 3 to 350, you could take and you could sell your first home, get the money, the equity from that home, and then put it into your second home at that 350. And you should, I'm not a lender, so don't quote me on it, but depending on how much equity you had in your first home, you should be able to get into a bigger home with the same payment, right? But you're not going to be able to get that kind of apples to apples, that transfer of payment on a larger home. So I think that's why we're seeing these kind of sit. All right. As always, if you've got any questions after the fact, just reach out to me. Let me know. All right. Say, hey, I got a question. I will say that as far as my own experience right now, I just sold 2 houses. I have 2 listings that one of them we got a clear to close today. And yesterday we closed on one of them. So I know that for those 2, we weren't on the market for over 60 days, right? We weren't. The first home, I think we were on the market for maybe about 44 days, and it was a $400,000 home. So that's accurate. That's what we're seeing on these charts right there. Okay. And then the other one was a home that is 130,000, and that one went pretty quickly, right? We've had a few little hiccups here and there because it's an older home, and I will go into all of that later with you. We'll talk about what to expect when you're buying or selling older homes. That's definitely going to be on the next uh agenda when I start scheduling out everything. Right now, I've got some amazing speakers coming up. Amazing speakers coming up. One, I'm going to be on Creative Tech's podcast next Tuesday, and then they are going to be doing our live Tuesday as well. So we're going to just kind of swap, and it's going to be great. I love Janet of Creative Tech. If you don't know her, you're going to get to know her next Tuesday. She is a local Lakeland business owner, and I absolutely adore her. So can't wait to talk to her. And then the following Tuesday, we're going to have Sarah come back on because she should be feeling better by then. We're going to have Sarah come back on, and we are going to finish our conversation about the Housing Act because there was a lot of stuff that we really didn't get a chance to talk about. There's a lot to that Housing Act, now law, right? That people expect to impact the market, and we want to make sure you know how it will impact and how it might not impact the market. So we're going to finish that conversation. That'll be in the first week of September. And then we've got all kinds of other good stuff coming to you. I am starting to plan a first-time homebuyer seminar. I have yet to decide if I'm going to do it online or if I'm going to do it in person. I really do enjoy the in-person stuff because I typically make it a game. I typically make it a game, and it's a lot of fun. We played cards one time and bought houses. So it was a lot of fun. So that's where my mind is right now, and that's where we're going to be. But my lovelies, you understand now where our market is as far as the recap of it. Recap, the affordable homes, the ones that are between 150 and 250, they are getting into multiple offers. So you do need to jump on a house that you see at that price range. You need to jump on it pretty quickly. And the houses that are in the 350 to 400, they're not sitting terribly long, but they're sitting longer. And then the houses that are over 400, they're sitting a lot longer because we can't afford them, right? So that's where we are with things. But if you're wondering whether or not you need to buy or sell a house and you're just wanting a one-on-one chat, feel free, contact me. That little QR code right there, that little QR code, if you scan it, it'll take you to my digital card. And my digital card will give you all kinds of goodies, especially like I have a first-time homebuyer quiz that you can take and all that kind of fun stuff. By the way, it all goes to an Excel sheet for me and me only. I'm really weird about putting my people in a database, so I put them in an Excel spreadsheet. Gotcha? Gotcha. All right. My lovelies, we are at the end of our show, and if you stayed this long, again, my name is Shalisa Muehlberger, and I am a realtor with S&D Real Estate Services here in Lakeland, Florida. And if you're looking to buy or sell a house, just give me a call. We'll have a conversation. All right? No pressure. Until we see you again next Tuesday, I want you to be happy, be safe, and know that I love you. Because if people can hate for no reason, I can love you for no reason. All right, my lovelies. Have a good evening.